Live, local, late breaking. This is KOCO 5 News at 5:30.
An urgent search for a suspect in vehicle after a woman is stabbed and dumped at a Guthrie hospital. That woman died from her injuries. KOCO's Paris Jones is in Guthrie tonight with what we know so far.
Mecca, that woman was found right over here near the front entrance. You can see the police tape still over here from last night. Tonight, police still looking into the details surrounding her death.
Authorities looking for this green minivan with missing hubcaps. It was captured on hospital surveillance Saturday night. Police also searching for the person who was driving that minivan, possibly connected to the homicide. Police say a woman in her 20s was found unconscious near the front doors of Mercy Hospital with multiple stab wounds. She was taken to the ER, but unfortunately, she died a short time later. Police have not yet released her identity. Anyone with information about the case should call Guthrie Police. In Logan County, Paris Jones, KOCO 5 News.
Paris, thank you. Today we know how murder suspect Christopher Trent died. Comanche County Sheriff Kenny Stradley says Trent killed himself. You'll remember OSBI agents, Norman Police, and the Comanche County Sheriff's Office searched the Wichita Mountains and Wildlife Refuge for Trent. His body was discovered yesterday.
Same area we went through yesterday, he wasn't there. So we feel like sometime during the night or early morning, he decided to do this. He had looked like he was building him a place for a fire, but he never did set it on fire.
Norman Police say Trent is responsible for the death of a 2-year-old. An escaped inmate back behind bars. Today, Woodward Police captured Sean Pulver. Pulver escaped from custody last week. He was originally arrested and charged with domestic assault and battery. He'll now likely face multiple charges. Today, increasing tension between the U.S. and Iran after a drone strike that killed Iran's top military general. ABC's Mona Kassar Abdi has details as many wonder if this will lead to war.
Thousands gathering on the
Today, Iran says it's abandoning the limits of the 2015 nuclear deal. This is Iraq's parliament is calling for the expulsion of American troops in the country. These developments mean Iran could move closer to building an atomic bomb and building the Islamic State back into Iraq. The U.S. military says al-Shabaab extremists overran a key military base used by U.S. forces in Kenya. 3 Americans with the Department of Defense were killed. The attackers, who have links to al-Qaeda, also destroyed several U.S. aircrafts and vehicles. While claiming responsibility for the attack, al-Shabaab representatives say it has nothing to do with the conflict in the Middle East. Well, blue skies, cool temperatures, it's the perfect recipe for a nice Sunday. Meteorologist Michael Armstrong is here with a look at the work week ahead. Michael?
I think there's a real good chance it won't happen again because I think with the evidence that we have that he's going to go to prison for a long time.
Looking ahead, a man convicted of kidnapping his ex-girlfriend twice will be sentenced this week. Monday, Floyd Joseph Ball Jr. is expected in court. Surveillance video shows him kidnapping the victim from a business in Purcell back in 2018. In October, a jury convicted Ball of kidnapping and assault and battery. His formal sentencing is tomorrow morning. Today, Quail Springs Mall is back to normal after a fire forced evacuation Saturday. Oklahoma City fire officials say it started on a grill in the food court. No one was hurt, but those flames caused about $40,000 in damage. Raising the minimum wage to $10.50 an hour. One Oklahoma senator has filed legislation to increase Oklahoma's minimum wage requirement. KOCO's Alex Houston explains.
Right now, the minimum wage in Oklahoma sits at $7.25 an hour, but with Senate Bill 1165, the minimum wage could change to $10.50 an hour.
It's a growing concern, it's a growing need, and you can see people who are responding to it across the nation. And so I want Oklahoma to respond to it.
According to data from the National Conference of State Legislators, 31 states have a minimum wage requirement higher than the federal minimum, while Oklahoma matches the federal minimum at $7.25 an hour.
We know that $7.25 an hour is not sufficient for the folk who are trying to make it on the bottom of the economic scale. $7.25 an hour is just not going to get it.
Senator Young says if we want to be a top 10 state, which we've heard a lot about, Oklahoma needs to close the gap between the poverty line and middle class.
As of the first of the year, more than 20 states and 26 cities and counties increased their minimum wage. Now, a bill to raise the federal minimum wage was passed in the House, but wasn't passed through the Senate. Supporters saying the cost of living is increasing, so wages need to as well. But critics say raising the minimum wage may lead to fewer employees since businesses may not be able to pay more employees a higher wage. In the studio, I'm Alex Houston, KOCO 5 News.
Alex, thank you. Upgrades to Will Rogers Airport starts tomorrow. It is expected to cost $5.7 million. Crews will start with renovations to the elevator and escalators in the lobby. Eventually, crews will also work on the two-story parking garage, as well as the roof and entry doors. The renovations are expected to take about a year. Thousands of military members joining in on the massive wildfire, where it stands now when we come back. Plus, early diagnosis and intervention can make a big difference when it comes to autism, the groundbreaking research that could lead to an early diagnosis.
You're watching KOCO 5. Breaking news is happening now.
Happening now, Congresswoman Kendra Horn back in Oklahoma. She's answering your questions on topics impacting Oklahomans. She's holding a town hall today in Edmond. People asked her about Social Security, education, veterans, mental health, and the impeachment proceedings. She also talked about legislation she is working on to help people in our state. Today we asked her what's the main issue she's been hearing about from Oklahomans.
Healthcare rises to the top over and over again. You know, we've had a town hall on mental health and on the price of insulin, drug pricing, and ensuring that we protect people's access to healthcare and begin to expand it, especially where it's lacking, are the things that I hear about more than anything else.
Congresswoman Horn says she's currently working on a bill to reduce those prescription drug prices. This is the 10th town hall she's hosted since being in office. Happening now, investigators in Blaine County searching for a home invasion suspect. That home invasion was just outside of Watonga, west of the airport. The sheriff's office says an armed man forced his way into a house where he stole several items. OSBI called in to investigate. Tonight, they are looking for anyone with more information. A murder trial will soon wrap up this week in Cleveland County. Closing arguments are set for tomorrow. The victim, a 20-month-old baby boy, found dead with massive injuries. Prosecutors say Jake Holman killed the baby while his mother was away. Holman faces up to life in prison. Multiple fire crews responding to a wildfire last night. This happened in the Ninica area. The Grady County Fire Department says the fire broke out near an area where mobile housing units were being stored. 3 of those units were a total loss. A viewer sent us this picture of the scene. You can see a deer passing by looking back at that fire. This was taken from a field last night. Right now, the cause of the fire is under investigation. Well, a beautiful day today, this whole weekend actually, but some rain is heading our way this week. We have Michael Armstrong here. And Michael, is there a chance for thunderstorms? Right now, 2 people arrested for the murder of their adopted 3-year-old in Wagner County. Kelsey and Glenn Seaman are charged with the abuse and the death of their daughter, Faith. Earlier this month, deputies responded to the call of an unresponsive toddler. Faith was rushed to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. An autopsy revealed she had severe injuries. The medical examiner says they were consistent with child abuse that happened just before her death. The other children in the home have been taken into DHS custody. A Tulsa man in federal prison tonight for embezzling more than $350,000 from his employer. Ernest Howard was sentenced this week to 15 months behind bars. He was caught padding out his paychecks from his international employer for at least a year. The court ordered Howard to pay back every penny he stole in restitution. Well, more college students are trading cigarettes for marijuana. KOCO's Evan Onstadt looks at the new research.
A study found marijuana usage is growing among young adults. Researchers looked at data from 2002 to 2016 to identify trends in smoking.
Marijuana increased in popularity among 18 to 22-year-olds in college by nearly 8%. By 2016, about 40% of young adults admitted to using the drug within the past year. The study did not specify how those students were consuming pot, such as were they smoking it, were they eating it, or vaping.
The research found students were not just more likely to use marijuana, they were doing so exclusively and ditching tobacco. The study can be found in the American Academy of Pediatrics Journal. Evan Onstad, KOCO 5 News.
Chemistry professors accused of making meth just east of us. Arkansas police arrested 2 Henderson State University professors. The school not saying much, but putting those teachers on administrative leave. They did release a statement saying a campus science center was closed last month because of a chemical odor. The professors face charges for manufacturing meth. This month, we've been telling you about grandparents raising their grandchildren. It's for our Project Community effort. And in Oklahoma, a lot of families look just like this. Tonight, KOCO's Jason Hackett looking into who was helping these families bridge the gap.
Shopping for 111 children today that are being raised by their grandparents.
111 children getting a special holiday this year thanks to Sunbeam Family Services. The nonprofit provides services year-round for these families, hoping to reach more.
We are just scratching the surface.
At least 46,000 grandparents in Oklahoma are raising their grandkids. They face health and financial obstacles. This group working to ease that burden.
We are actually number 7 in the nation for having more grandparents raise their grandchildren.
Many of these families are on a fixed income, making the holidays especially hard.
We'll make sure that these grand families get a good Christmas and not have to risk having their having to choose between medication and Christmas.
This is the 19th year of Sunbeam's holiday program. They partner with local law enforcement to make wishes come true.
We do what we can to try to make every child, we want their Christmas to be special.
Jason Hackett, KOCO 5 News.
Lawmakers prepping for week 2 of a public testimony in the impeachment inquiry, but one congresswoman has been there before, twice. Her story straight ahead. And training saves lives made fun. The surprising way Oklahoma City fire crews practice for rescues. April marks 25 years since the Murrah building bombing. 168 people died. And so in the 168 days leading up to April 19th, we're remembering those who died. Today we remember Olita C. Biddy. We also honor those who survived and thank those whose lives were changed forever.